The Big Show with Glenn and Angel on Kiss 92.
Good morning.
Sometimes getting out of bed in the morning is a lot to deal with all at once.
Good morning, Singapore, and welcome to the biggest and best breakfast show in the world. We are The Big Show, and it's a Tuesday, and so we have award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan, with us. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. So happy to be here.
It's nice to see you. I mean, based on what you're wearing, the color and all that, I see you're all set to vote for the PAP.
Oh wow.
How did that association come about? But okay.
But you're wearing white too.
You look like one of our female ministers.
She does though. She
Yeah.
does. You would make a really good minister.
Yeah, you look a little bit like Sun Xueling, no?
Minister for mental health.
Yeah.
I don't mind being Minister for Mental Health if that's the case.
You would be fantastic at it.
Talking about mental health, right? So no need to be minister. We are on the Big Show. So we have given the listeners some homework last week so that they can be happy. So I wonder how many of them have completed their homework.
Nobody remembers.
No one likes
Nobody,
homework, Dr.
right?
Jerry.
Yeah, you're like one of those teachers, you know. You just give us homework, but then we're like, nah, she's not gonna punish us if we don't do it.
We're like, it's all right.
She's gonna love us
Well,
anyway. She's gonna understand our mental state as to why we didn't do our homework.
Hence, she is the Minister for Mental Health.
Yeah.
You know, we are all in charge of our mental health. So anyways, if you can do one thing, I would say learn something new. So this morning I learned something new from both of you, which is mic skills. So I need to keep my head straight right in front of my mic. So everybody should learn something new.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's our minds and our brains, and I like the other one, which is to be giving. So if you can this week, you know, if you can be nice to someone or gift someone something, do that. So that's the homework for this week. But because the pursuit of happiness is not clinical, I thought I wanted to look at how else we can help our mental well-being. So the youngest of my team, which is an intern, was saying that, okay, something that is very trending is mental clutter. So we were like, what are you talking about? And it was quite an interesting perspective that she had. And I really love the younger ones when they bring their fresh perspective, right? So I'm glad that the younger generation is no longer interested in only diagnosis or clinical diagnosis. So they are looking at what else is causing me stress. So this issue about mental clutter. So mental clutter isn't clinical, but I think in the papers or in one of the research that Duke NUS had done in earlier in the early 2020 something, you know, they say that the students are missing school because of mental health, and up to 24 days or 190 hours. And then September 2024 in the Straits Times, it was also reported that the 15 to 35, which is our youths, they have high anxiety, depression, and stress. 1 in 3 youth are suffering from that.
1 in 3 is a high number.
Yeah, and anxiety is the number one spot. So most of us would say, right?
All of us
I
were
have-
anxious when we were in school also before.
Not really. I was
Yeah.
thinking about it and I was like,
No.
no.
Yeah, because you were
so.
playing, you were going with all the boys, that's
Oh,
why.
stop it. You'd have no
You know,
idea.
I was
what-
like, wow, you know, trying to like determine my future. It's like, what am I gonna do? And you feel like, you know, you feel a little stressed out.
I think it was only you, though.
Okay,
That's a
fine.
you thing, yeah.
Just me then.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, just finish what you need to say. Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh,
Sorry,
no,
sorry, I
mean,
interrupted you.
We often say, right, I have a lot on my mind, or, you know, my mind is very busy just before I sleep. So that's something that I hear often in the therapy room. But to have it singled out like mental clutter, and just to talk about mental clutter, which we would in a little while, I think it's something that is good to try and identify for all of us.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. All right. Up next, Gracie Abrams. I love you. I'm sorry. Let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV. Okay.
Yep, mental clutter, mental clutter. So think of a messy room, okay? So a lot of things scattered all over. So you're looking at scattered thoughts, maybe a lot of like nagging thoughts. You're trying to remember what to do. You're trying to tell yourself what to do, and also you're trying to analyze situations that have happened before. So a lot of overthinking, a lot of unprocessed emotions. And when I talk about unprocessed emotions, it's really a lot of different types of emotions. Okay, so these thoughts they may not be negative thoughts. They can be neutral thoughts. They can be even positive thoughts. But you're planning, you're thinking, you're analyzing, and it just goes into overdrive. And most of the time, you feel like your brain is extremely disorganized. And it doesn't have to be a disorganized person, okay? But the brain just feel messy. So it could be made up of a few things. The project has not been completed, so you're thinking about it. You're over analyzing a conversation that has passed, and you think you could have done better. Or you feel like you may have offended a person. So you're thinking about it, you're regretting doing the action or saying something.
That's
Uh,
really thinking a lot, man.
yeah,
Oh,
worrying about what others think
Think
about you.
about
So
you.
there's the
Yeah.
judgment part of it. Or I love this one. Most of us do it these days, consuming a lot of content. So we
Yeah.
doom scroll. So we love to blame the internet, or we love to blame, all the different social media, but we are partaking in it. So we are just like swallowing a lot of information, a lot of content, and we say, "Oh, but it's very useful. I can keep it for another time." So remember in the past when we photostat or photocopy, photocopy a lot of different
it's okay. I used to
notes,
say
thinking
photostat as well. That's fine. Photostat, photocopy.
Same thing.
photocopy, photostat. It was such a common term, or way to say it in the past. But we would photocopy many different articles or many different notes, and we'll put it on our shelves, thinking that we will get to it another time.
Not Angel. Angel is
Well,
having a good time with all her
Oh, stop
boyfriends.
it. No, but it's interesting you say that, Dr. Jerry, because when you said photocopying stuff, right? I feel like
yes,
having the physical copy sitting on your shelf, like say a book or
yes,
something else, you're more
yes.
inclined to reach out and look at it than if you were, say, saving stuff on Instagram or Facebook. You know how we can always save articles and stuff like that to read later and stuff? I have 101 articles that I've saved on Instagram and Facebook that I never reopened
Yeah, but imagine this
in your
being
mind.
multiplied. So you would maybe go to it, but imagine because of the volume of information that is coming through on the internet and Instagram, it contributes to why you don't go back, because there's constantly new information
Yeah.
coming at you. Plus, the algorithm is such that it pushes the similar content to you, which makes whatever that you've saved obsolete.
So it's like better, younger, newer, fresher, that just
Pressure,
keeps
yeah,
replacing
yeah,
the old stuff, right?
correct. Yeah, yeah. So you don't revisit it, and if we do that in our brain, so you do that on Instagram, and you probably might have forgotten about it. But imagine this person puts it in their head, and they think that they are going to use it in another time or at another time. So then it makes it they're very lost in all the information that they have. And because it's not actionable, so the above that I mentioned, right, whether it is incomplete task, whether it is past thoughts or situation, worrying about what people say, consuming the content, there is no resolution, there's no concrete forward action that they can do at that point in time. So it just keeps circling and cycling, and it just stays in their head, which is very tiring.
What about you were mentioning that mental clutter is a big word that they use now, right? But what about compartmentalizing thoughts? Because that's another word that or term that I hear going around quite a bit as well. So if you have
Compartmentalizing.
so if you have a lot of clutter, then is it better to make compartments out of them, because it's almost like a cupboard where you neat and everything, right?
Is it so easy, you think?
It's not, no, but that's why I'm asking the psychologist.
Psychologist, how?
So in your mind, if you have all these thoughts, we do say to compartmentalize it. Okay, most people will assume that they can compartmentalize, but remember that these are all concepts and ideas that you have. It doesn't mean that if you just tell yourself you can compartmentalize, you can. Okay, you can't segregate. So some people love to say, oh, just compartmentalize your emotions, perhaps.
Like
So
like
if
it's
you
so
look-
easy, right, Jerry? It's not easy, huh?
No, I'm sure it's not,
No, it's
but I'm just
not
wondering,
easy.
is there any kind of practice that we can do to make compartmentalizing easier?
Forget compartmentalizing. Compartmentalizing.
Compartmentalizing.
How about just forgetting it?
Even harder,
3
I
shots of
feel.
whiskey neat,
Oh my
and
God.
you will forget everything.
Is that all it takes?
But if you have so much mental clutter, sometimes your brain shuts down, and then you really will forget things.
Then you need the
cannot
whole
remember
bottle to
that.
forget, not just 3 shots.
Well, I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
Okay, Jerry, hold on. We're going
Traffic.
air again. Levy, right?
Kiss 92 traffic.
On the KPE towards the ECP right before the Tampines Road exit, avoid lanes 3 and 4. An accident has been spotted. Looks like there's heavy traffic all over the place. Not surprising. It is 8:19. It is peak hour. Let us know if you spot anything. 8855-0920.
We are back on the Big Show TV with Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning. An exciting topic. Not clinical, but exciting.
Okay, we're talking about mental clutter.
We are and about compartmentalizing. So okay, let's look at the sources of clutter, okay? Like where it comes from. So a lot of people love to multitask these days, or assume that they can multitask. They open 10 million tabs, which we mentioned before. Actually, I'm looking at my own computer.
Mine
and
as
go
well.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4,
1,
5,
2,
6,
3,
7.
4, 5, 6.
Oh no! And then I'm looking at another computer. Thank goodness your faces are there, very enticing. So I don't have any others open.
I've got 21 tabs open here.
Oh my gosh!
And
Okay.
on my phone I have 66.
What?
Yeah. But that's
You can
just
open 66.
66 tabs, yeah. But that's just me not closing tabs as I open them. But the computer one, I need all of them.
So we assume that we need all of them. I love the word need, right? But if you actually look at the tabs, you actually don't need most of them. So imagine you have 66 books open on your table. You don't have enough table space, nor do you have enough floor space. So so for us to think that we need all of that, we actually don't. Yeah, so what happens is before you finish one thing and you consolidate and crystallize what you need to do with one item, you move on to the next item. So you never really complete anything at all, and your brain is then stuck thinking that, oh, but I need to go back to the previous um, project or previous work or previous article,
Mm.
and then you have your attention being like pulled in many many different directions. Because okay, if we look at the devices, I wonder, do we, so not just both of you, do we switch off some of our notifications, or we assume that all are needed? So what happens is that our phone keeps pinging us, or we have that drop down list of many many different notifications.
Just put it on silent and just leave the phone in the room.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I usually do.
but some people need the need to be reached out to, like say via WhatsApp and all that. They still need the notification to come through. You know what I mean? Or
But do
the
you
call.
really need?
Well, or do you want it?
Yes.
Yarim is asking on Facebook, compartmentalization and mental clutter. Are they just adult things, or do kids and teens have them too?
so we need to teach them, right? And actually we do teach our young ones, so I'm not sure how we lose that ability when we grow older, because we teach our children timetables, routines. We teach them to complete one task. So remember when they are young, and they play with one toy and they move on to another toy, what do we do as parents? We say, pack up this toy first before you go on to the next toy. So we do attempt to teach the younger children, but somehow along the way, because we are bombarded by this multitude of different information, we just forget, or we think that we can manage it all.
But when we were younger, we all managed it. Is it because we were ignorant of, the whole mental illness?
I think that's just too much
Thing.
information these days. Information comes so fast and furiously, because before we had no internet connection when we were growing up.
Okay.
So any information that we got was either 3 days late or not at all.
Plus, for you didn't bother. You were
Also,
just
we're
hanging out
playing
with
with
your
the boys.
boyfriends.
Correct. That's right. Yes.
That's why.
All right.
Apart
Sure.
from that, nothing else.
I will just accept what you say.
Okay.
All day too.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV. Here's Ayaz with Replay on Kiss 92.
Shawty's like a melody.
So yeah, well, you asked whether is it that we are less resilient. I was thinking about that, right? How come the youth these days are more stressed, more anxious, more depressed? If I think about it, just think about the school curriculum, right? They didn't have the internet. All the information, you need to either go to the school library or to the national library, and you're not bombarded. You voluntarily go and seek the information physically. You can touch, and it's a limited amount of time.
And you learn at
Right.
your own pace as well.
Correct. So you're not worried that, oh, I am missing out on a lot of other information. So and if I look at it, right, these days, students don't just go to school, so it's home and school.
Oh,
Expected. I would say that they are expected, to perform and perform in different ways, perform in the leadership positions, perform in internships, or to obtain internships. They're so stressed these days. You have secondary 2 students saying, oh, where should I go and intern in the future? I'm so glad that they are thinking about it, but imagine, I think during my time, I wasn't thinking about that. I was
Yeah.
just thinking about school, But these days, they are thinking about that. They are thinking about what can beef up my portfolio, because the world is so competitive these days. who can I network with, who can I connect with, who, what else can I do to prepare? And they start researching on TikTok, on Instagram, and the information out there is voluminous. So anxiety goes up, stress goes up. So it's not just the academic pressure that they are having, but also all the other pressures that come from associated work that they need to do.
And the information is all uninvited as well. I mean, if you look at Instagram and TikTok and all that, like you say, they go and do the research on social media. And on top of that, they have to research whether the information is actually correct. And then, because you have to do your due diligence, right? You can't believe everything that you see on, like, there's a lot of financial information, there's a lot of health information, there's a lot of information on fitness, and you can't take everything with face value, right? I mean, you can't say that everything's correct. And while they're on top of researching, while they're not researching, they're also on Instagram and TikTok there for fun, where a lot of information is uninvited and unwelcome as well. So it's like constant, like, stuff that's just going in, but nothing's coming out in that sense,
Yes, in a way it is. And
Excuse me.
interestingly, there is the emotion. So in the past, it's like, oh, I'm just tired, I can't do it, or I don't have the information because somebody else borrowed the book from the library. Now, if we are not performing up to standard, our emotions or the youth emotions are of shame, self-doubt, not just worry. We assume that they are stressed and they are worried, but the emotional load is a lot because they feel very helpless. They feel very hopeless because they feel that they are unable to perform as well as the next person, and they feel very guilty. So these are interesting emotions because these are not spoken about. Guilt and shame are hardly spoken about, and they are stuck inside. You can't say, I feel very ashamed of myself not being able to perform. You would not even share it with your friends, or you would not even think of sharing it with your friends.
Yeah, and these days it's almost like you have no excuse not to know anything. So the pressure is there even more because all the information is out there. It's like no excuse not.
Hopelessness.
Yeah, and the shame.
That's the
So
worst thing,
that-
feeling ashamed of
So
anything.
that's why the kids are so stressed out and anxious because people will say, oh, there's no excuse for you not to know because you need to go out there and learn. All the information is at your fingertips. If you don't know something, Google it. But back
so
nowadays, you don't know something, open the encyclopedia. And maybe the info is not there. Then you learn.
Yes. So it's not just the teens, it's the young adults also who are struggling. So the 20-year-old, so the whole 20-year-old to 30, early 30s, they are also suffering with a lot of anxiety. And
Not our two girls, Shalini and Cheyenne, both 20. They have no problems at all.
Do you
You
guys
didn't
feel...
ask?
They are happy.
Yeah, do you guys feel
Happy
anxious
most
about
days.
anything? It'll be interesting to hear,
Shalini,
though.
Susan,
Do you
are you anxious about anything? Work-wise?
Wow. What I would say it's like how Dr. Jerry said that you just get too much information at once, right? So I feel like as much as like our work for the 4 hours is very fast paced, after work is done, technically it's when everyone else starts work.
Right.
Yes.
And then I get a second round of bombarding from like people from other department or like whatsoever. And then it feels like I don't have time to like just slow down. So that's the part that gets me anxious a little.
Yeah. This is where Cheyenne comes in. You get her to beat these people up. Cheyenne, have you been doing your job?
I don't beat anybody up.
Okay.
She beat them up with her eyes. She just stare them down.
Are you kind of stressed out as well, Cheyenne?
We're going back on air.
Okay. Saved.
Saved by the bell.
Kiss 92 traffic.
Well, it looks like the only thing you need to worry about is that heavy peak hour traffic. Don't be a tailgater, don't road hog, and please use those indicators if you spot anything. 885550
Welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for today is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. If you're feeling off in whatever way, we've been discussing over the weeks in terms of mental health issues and all that, you can look for Dr. Jerry and her team at the Therapy Room, okay?
You know, Dr. Jerry, if I can just add, Mole has come on our Facebook and she said, I noticed that all local university kids are especially bombarded with spam email regarding career talks, workshops, survey requests, etc., etc. 90% of are spam, but there is important information among them. So she tries to help her kids manually create email filters to keep the essential emails in the inbox and everything else in the spam box or the promotions box.
Damn it, that's the third time you're mentioning spam. I feel like spam fries now.
Spam. No, but I feel it's the same for us as well. You know how you go on a website and they're like 10% off if you sign up for our mailing list, right? Everybody wants that 10%, right? Or you go on the shopping platforms and they're like, play with this game, then you get more coins, then you get more discounts. So people are constantly sucked into that internet world, that mobile world, that we can't put our devices down, and then the mental clutter is added on, and then we get spam, and our phones get spam notifications as well.
These are the weak people who can't put their phones down.
Not everyone plays golf,
not
then.
true.
Okay.
So I think we have done this before where we attempted to declutter our phones, remember? So, I think I did it with everyone and I threw away a whole lot of apps. And then I realized when I was doing this article or this session today that I've collected a whole lot of other apps again, precisely because, they would entice you with a 10% off or $5 voucher or something like that if you download that app, right? Or you buy on that app. So now I've collected a whole lot of other apps that maybe in a few months I need to declutter again. But anyways, if we look at the clinical aspect, so I did say, the mental clutter can lead to depressiveness, can lead to anxiety and stress. But the reverse is can be true. So depression, anxiety can also enhance or exacerbate the mental clutter. Okay. Those with ADHD, so you notice some of the signs and symptoms are very similar to ADHD. So if you do realize that you're a little bit more disorganized, you have poor time management, maybe you want to get diagnosed with and see whether you have ADHD. That might help you to understand whether that is contributing to that mental clutter and how to deal with that.
Do I have? You said the last time I have ADHD. You were just joking, right?
So.
What do you mean? I don't have ADHD.
You don't want to have ADHD?
I don't want to have ADHD.
Everyone wants a label these days.
What the? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We're going back on air.
On
sorry.
Facebook.
We're going back on
On
Facebook.
Facebook and YouTube, yes.
Okay. Let's continue to talk to Jerry on the Big Show TV.
This is brand new. Here.
So fast. I didn't realize we went for another traffic update and then we went back on
Because you never
on air
listen
live.
to what I say.
What do you say?
Traffic.
Okay, Jerry. Yes. So we were on air
anyway.
just now. Oh my goodness, we were on air. Did I say anything that I wasn't supposed to say?
Always. Yeah.
Gosh.
You got to play it back later.
Okay. Hello, everyone watching us on TV right now. How do we look? You like my hair? Jerry, you like my hair, no, Jerry? Neater, no, now?
Very, very
Yeah.
nice. Very,
Very nice.
interesting choice of color.
What? My hair has
She's
been this
being
color
very-
for the
she's
past
being very
2
polite.
weeks already. No, but I'm talking about the length. The
She
length.
can't see.
Oh, okay.
Can't see from the front. Not unless you
so
turn
she
around.
didn't notice that I had this mullet before.
No, he had a mullet
I had a mullet.
up until
I
yesterday.
see. No, I didn't
Yeah, but then over the weekend I was watching this show called The Chosen One, where there was a bunch of Abeng gangsters, and then I look like one of them.
They had mullets as
Yeah,
well.
lah. So I'm like, no. I said, I cannot. I need to chop it off. If not, I look like an Abeng. Okay, anyway.
Well, okay. Yes, back to mental clutter. Let's not clutter out our minds with abings. So, if we don't deal with our mental clutter, then you will hear many of our youth saying that they are burnt out because their brains cannot rest. They are not as creative because then they will just function and they'll just do step by step, whatever that you tell them to do, because they cannot be proactive if their minds are so filled with other information. Some of them mistake it as disassociation because they feel disconnected. There's too much information. They remove themselves from that particular situation. So they disconnect, or they assume that they disassociate, depersonalize. They have a lot of words, right? Because they used to love to put clinical issues onto themselves. Sleep is definitely compromised, and procrastination. So a lot of them say, how come I have a million things to do and I don't start doing? So they tend to do that also.
So it's almost like numbing yourself to the pain, basically, where you desensitize and you don't feel anymore or you don't think anymore. So it doesn't make the problem or the issue go away, right?
It doesn't. So they could check out, they could, escape, they could have a shutdown. So the brains just say, I've enough of you, and then they just shut down.
So
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me just crack my neck here. Let you all
Okay.
hear. Okay.
That's his decluttering. Nothing
hear that?
happened, no.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Yerim has come on our Facebook again, and this was a question I wanted to ask as well. How do we effectively declutter? I think, are there ways to do it right now where we're sitting just for a moment to be able to shut down? Or are there longer term ways to declutter as well?
Declutter the house.
No, the mind, Glenn. Where have you been for the past 40 minutes? My God.
Okay, so sometimes when we want to throw things, right, we need to see it all at once. So one thing that the youth love to do these days is to just write a journal. So, with Instagram, they have the spam IG or something like that, where
Don't
you just
you
dump
start.
everything in there.
No, anyone know about the word spam IG? What is that?
So all the
Cheyenne's
spam
turn.
recipes.
You and your spam.
No, it's like a separate Instagram. It's like a separate Instagram account from your main one that you just post whatever you feel like posting, and you can it's usually a lot more private and a lot less followers.
Under the same handle?
No,
Oh,
yeah,
so it's just a
separate
private account.
A private account.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I have one of those. Okay.
But I just want to let y'all know that have y'all tried the dish
Spam?
bitter gourd, spam, and eggs?
Okay, now we're
It's
not
like-
talking about spam.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you got to clear your spam
So
box as well if
yummy.
you want.
So yums. Okay. Anyway.
Okay, so we have something called the brain dump journal. So this one is not your IG, it's not your social media. It's just a book that you or on your device. Actually, I would prefer not
A
being on the
book.
device.
Yeah.
But to each his own. But really, just put down everything as you think and write it down. Okay, so there's no holds barred. It doesn't matter whatever it is, and just throw it out. 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So don't need to write essay. You don't need to spend an hour. Just 5 minutes a day, just verbal. But this one, you just put it into your journal.
It is very powerful, though. I've heard
what
of
do
the
we
power.
write again, sorry?
No, anything. So this is not a diary. It is a journal to write whatever is on your mind. So you could have this
Like
book
my
with you.
spider lie.
Yes, it could be. It could be anything because you think strangely. Yes. It could be, I'm sitting here right now and I'm thinking about what to have for lunch, or I need to do this when I get home. But it's not a journal in that sense where you're writing dear diary. This is how I feel today and stuff like. It's whatever
it's not a
comes to
dear
your mind. What's in your mind right now, Glenn? Besides spam?
Sex.
Okay, yeah, then you're right. I'm thinking about sex right now. How beautiful it would be if I had blah blah blah, whatever it is. So it's 5 minutes of that.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll get
Yeah.
you a sex book, okay? A little book that
No,
because
no,
you're
no.
always thinking about sex, so we'll get you one of those little books.
Okay, and then after that, right, then you focus on one or two priorities. One or two, that's the key, because we tend to put everything at at the same level. So if you have 10 things, and I hear that very often with the youths, right, they would say, but everything is important. So you can prioritize it by timeline. You can prioritize it by how you your ability even. So let go of the rest. Just focus on one or two things. And my favorite one is look around your environment and see what you can throw.
Yes,
So your
you're right.
physical
No,
It's like
that's- yeah.
environment.
whatever
Yeah.
you don't need, just get rid of it.
Yeah, because they say like an untidy desk equals an untidy mind, right?
Yes, yes. So the more you're able to get rid of things, the calmer and the quieter your mind can be. So that would be just one of my top three things that we can try. And I'm not going to make it a homework, but whoever that feels that it is useful for them. So brain dump journal, focus on one or two priorities, and throw things away in your environment.
You know, it'd be
Just
quite fun.
clear your
What? Tell
environment.
us.
We brain dump all together in the morning. Like I get a huge
I think-
whiteboard.
I think
right?
it's a great
Then
idea.
then the four of us, right?
Yeah.
We'll just
Brain dump.
Yeah.
Like whatever you hate, just write, and then after it just gets erased. Because
Yeah.
the art of
And then we all get to see each other's.
brain dump,
Yes.
like what's on your mind. Yeah, sure.
It'd be quite fun, right?
What happens in the room stays in the room.
Okay, Shalini, order a big whiteboard. I will pay now.
She
you
says we
later.
only have space for one whiteboard.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we have a whiteboard.
Yeah, we have a spare whiteboard.
Oh, we got a spare whiteboard. Let's
Oh.
start brain dumping tomorrow.
Okay, sounds like fun. Okay, traffic update next.
Kiss 92 traffic.
The good news is that is no news from the roads. So if you spot anything at all, you can keep us updated and be our eyes on the roads. It's 8855-0920.
We're back with Dr. Geraldine Tan from the therapy room. How are you feeling today, Jerry? I mean, you're always such a happy person. I mean, we all are, every time you're on. I think maybe you are the one. You are our happy pill, maybe.
Maybe.
But
Okay, that's
but
nice
what,
to hear.
but what makes you happy, Jerry?
Yeah.
We want to know.
I always have this principle of every day, everything is an adventure, and to always keep learning. So, yesterday, the entire team, my team, went on a learning journey, and a very, very big shout out to Ray of Hope, who hosted us at the Foundry and introduced us to their works. We've been partners, but we never had any in-depth knowledge, or the team never knew, more about their work. We just did projects with them. And we also got to learn about the Tea Project. Wonderful, woman June is, and wonderful work she does. And from Bepa Hebat, Mr. Jamsari. Yes, Jamsari. Yeah, so my tongue cannot pronounce sometimes.
No, lah, it's okay. Not easy for everyone to say Jamsari,
Show off.
Wonderful learnings yesterday, and we had our photo shoot yesterday. So the team had a wonderful, lovely, insightful day yesterday.
Sounds like a fantastic day, but we did want to ask you as well, as a psychologist, what is your mental clutter?
Oh,
Oh Lord,
Right? How do you deal with it though?
Oh, yeah. So, so sweet of you for asking. Our cases, our caseloads, that is top priority, right? Because there are a lot of different aspects to it. So if we have a more urgent case, that will take up a lot of mind space. And we would we do say we close the file, we don't think about it, but actually it's very, very difficult, because if we are trying to resolve something and it's an unresolved issue, we would be thinking about it. So sometimes thoughts pops into our head, or we need to research a little bit more. We need to find out what methods out there might be useful for them. So these would take up a lot of mind space, and for those that are doing supervision work, we not only have the cases to deal with, but also our supervisees. That means we also manage the younger ones and their cases too, and their growth, their professional growth. Yeah,
you need a distraction. You need to take up a sport or something. Yeah, for you, I think you look like a badminton person.
Oh no, I've got no hand-eye coord.
Oh.
That's one thing. So little trivia, Jerry has no hand-eye coord. No,
I'm
both
sure that's
hands.
not true.
Okay, Jerry,
Yeah.
time for us to check on out of here. Last words.
Of course. Okay, so this is something that the young intern Tashika, she feels that it impacts her a lot. So it's a quote by Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, a Greek philosopher, and he says, "You can't control every thought, but you can choose which ones to water. What you focus on shapes your reality."
Very nice. I said anything that's not doing anything for you right now, you're tired of it.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Anything that's toxic,
Wait,
throw
wait.
it away.
Did she say yes or no?
She said no.
She said no. We must analyze. Okay.
Oh, I heard
She said
no.
yes.
Flow.
Oh, let it
go.
flow. Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Okay, now we're letting you go. So, okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jerry. We love you. Mwah. We'll see you next week. Okay.
I love both of you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Aw.
See you next
Bye-bye.
week. All right. Coming up very soon, headline news and sports. Thank you very much for watching The Big Show TV with Dr. Geraldine Tan today.
Everybody say
Wake up feeling good. The Big Show.
in the